Hello and welcome to Astronomy Daily, the podcast that brings you the latest news from the final frontier. I'm your host, Avery.
And I'm Anna. It's great to have you with us. We have 4 great stories for you today, covering everything from engineering challenges right here on Earth to the slow, cosmic dance of our solar system.
That's right. We'll be talking about a significant setback for Firefly Aerospace as they work to get their Alpha rocket back on the launch pad.
Then we'll look at an incredibly busy week for launches around the world, including SpaceX launching satellites for a major competitor.
We'll also dive into Europe's ambitious new plans to develop a reusable rocket that's already being called a mini Starship.
And finally, we'll explore a new study that reveals our solar system's asteroid belt is slowly but surely disappearing.
It's a lot to cover, so let's get started.
All right, Avery, let's begin with some challenging news for Firefly Aerospace. It seems their path back to flight has hit another obstacle.
That's right, Anna. During a recent ground test in Texas, the company experienced an anomaly and unfortunately lost the first-stage booster intended for its next mission, dubbed Alpha Flight 7.
This is especially tough news considering it follows a launch hiatus for the company. Their last flight, Alpha Flight 6, back in April, also suffered an in-flight anomaly.
Exactly. The investigation into that flight pointed to something called plume-induced flow separation, which is a complex aerodynamic issue where the rocket's own exhaust interferes with its flight. The company had seemed quite optimistic about fixing the issue and getting back to a regular launch schedule. This latest incident is a definite setback.
It really underscores the immense challenges of rocketry. Even ground testing, which is meant to prevent in-flight failures, carries its own risks. How does this fit into Firefly's overall track record?
Well, it's been a mixed bag. They've had successful missions and have secured some major contracts, including with NASA, but they've also faced their share of development hurdles. What this shows, though, is their resilience. They are investigating the cause and have other boosters in production.
They do. For instance, they have a mission lined up for the National Reconnaissance Office. Launching sensitive government payloads requires an extremely high degree of reliability. So this setback will certainly be scrutinized closely by their government partners.
I'm sure it will be. It looked like a pretty dramatic event in the photos published online.
And they're not just working on the Alpha rocket, are they? They have bigger plans.
Correct. They're also developing a much larger rocket called Eclipse. So while this is a frustrating loss for the Alpha program, the company's still pushing forward on multiple fronts. We'll be watching closely to see how they bounce back. Now, while one company faced a setback, the rest of the world seemed to be racing to the launch pads. It's an incredibly busy week for spaceflight.
It certainly is. And leading the charge, as usual, is SpaceX. They have up to 3 launches scheduled in a very short span.
2 of those are for their own Starlink satellite internet constellation, which is pretty standard for them now. But the third one really caught my eye. It's a launch for Amazon's Project Kuiper on Friday.
That is fascinating. For those who don't know, Project Kuiper is Amazon's direct competitor to Starlink. So you have SpaceX, the industry leader in launch services, flying satellites for the very company trying to compete with its satellite internet service.
It's a perfect illustration of the current state of the launch market. SpaceX's Falcon 9 is so reliable and available that even its rivals have to use it. It's a testament to their operational dominance.
And the activity wasn't just in the US. China also hit a significant milestone this week.
They did. They celebrated the 100th successful launch of their Chang'e 2D rocket, also known as the Long March 2D. It's a real workhorse for their space program, having been in service for decades. Reaching 100 launches is a huge achievement for any rocket family.
And rounding out the busy week is Rocket Lab, which is scheduled to launch its second HASTE mission. HASTE is a modified version of their Electron rocket, isn't it?
That's right. HASTE stands for Hypersonic Accelerator Suborbital Test Electron. It's designed for flying hypersonic research payloads. So in 1 week, you have commercial competition, national milestones, and cutting-edge military research all taking to the skies. It really shows the diverse and global nature of spaceflight today.
Speaking of global efforts, let's turn our attention to Europe, where a very ambitious vision for the future of launch is starting to take shape. The European Space Agency, or ESA, has awarded a significant contract to the Italian aerospace company Avio.
And this isn't just for another conventional rocket. The contract, worth 40 million euros, is for Avio to design a reusable upper stage. This is part of a larger concept for a two-stage rocket where both stages would be fully reusable.
Naturally, the inspiration here is SpaceX's Starship. In fact, this European concept is already being unofficially dubbed the mini Starship because it follows the same principles, just on a smaller scale.
And we really need to emphasize how technically ambitious this is. Reusing a first-stage booster, which companies like SpaceX have mastered, is one thing. The booster separates at a lower altitude and velocity. Reusing an upper stage, which has to reach orbital speeds and endure the heat of reentry, is an entirely different and much more complex challenge.
Absolutely. So, what's the timeline for this project?
We should manage our expectations. This contract is for a preliminary design, with a major review scheduled in a couple of years. If it gets the green light to proceed, a potential first flight would likely be in the early 2030s. This is a long-term play.
It seems to be part of a broader European strategy. For years, Europe has been trying to develop its own autonomous and competitive launch capabilities to avoid relying on American or Russian rockets. This feels like a major step in that direction.
It is. By aiming for full reusability, they're not just trying to catch up. They're trying to leapfrog to the next generation of launch technology. It's a bold vision, and it will be fascinating to see if Avio and ESA can pull it off.
It certainly will be, and we'll be sure to keep an eye on this story going forward.
All right, for our final story, let's zoom out from our own technological endeavors and look at the slow, grand-scale evolution of our solar system. A new study from astronomers in Uruguay has some incredible insights into the asteroid belt.
This is a really interesting one. They've discovered that the asteroid belt, that vast collection of rocks between Mars and Jupiter, is slowly losing mass over time. It's essentially disappearing, albeit on a timescale of billions of years.
So where is all that rock and dust going?
The study breaks it down into two main pathways. About 80% of the lost mass is being ground down into incredibly fine dust through countless collisions between asteroids. This dust then slowly spirals towards the sun.
And that dust is actually visible to us here on Earth, right?
Yes, it is. It's the primary contributor to what's known as the zodiacal light, a faint, diffuse glow that you can sometimes see in the night sky after sunset or before sunrise. You're literally seeing the dust of the disintegrating asteroid belt.
That's amazing. What about the other 20% of the mass being lost?
That portion is ejected from the belt in the form of larger chunks, asteroids and meteoroids. Gravitational nudges from Jupiter can send these objects on new trajectories, and some of them can cross Earth's orbit, becoming what we call near-Earth objects.
So the study also gives us a glimpse into the past. If the belt is losing mass, it must have been more massive before.
Precisely. The models suggest that around 3.5 billion years ago, the asteroid belt was about 50% more massive than it is today. And what's truly compelling is that this time frame correlates perfectly with geological evidence from both Earth and the Moon, which shows a much higher rate of asteroid impacts during that early period of the solar system.
So the scars on the Moon and ancient impact craters on Earth are direct evidence of this more massive, chaotic early asteroid belt. It's a powerful reminder that the solar system isn't a static, unchanging clockwork. It's a dynamic, evolving system. And we're just seeing one snapshot in its incredibly long life.
And that's a perfect place to wrap things up for today. From the immediate engineering struggles on a test stand to the billion-year grinding down of an asteroid belt, it's been quite a journey.
It certainly has. It highlights the constant interplay between human ambition pushing outward and the vast ancient mechanics of the cosmos we inhabit. That's all the time we have for today on Astronomy Daily.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Anna. And please visit our website for even more space and astronomy news. Our newsfeed is constantly updating, and there's always more to read there. You can find us at astronomydaily.io.
And I am Avery. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to explore the final frontier. And remember, keep looking up.